Hello, my people. Mi pueblo, my people. What's going on, my people? How y'all all today? This is your boy, Adeleke. Just coming at you. Humming, coming at you. Just want to take a minute being on this project of consistency as a new content creator, YouTuber. Just want to be consistent in producing and putting out a new video a week with one primary intention, of course, initially, and that's just to grow a subscriber base, get an audience going, let everybody know, the vibe that I'm bringing with these conversations, and also, bring up subscribership. I really am looking forward to doing lives. I really like engaging with folk. I figure out a way building up the live conversations in Clubhouse and working them in tandem. I still got some things I'm working out as far as my programming, but that's where I'm headed. And in order to really get there, then of course I got to build up this audience, So subscribe, like, share, like, share, but subscribe. That's the one. Get my subscribers up, then we can start doing lives, and that's really what I'm looking for. But I just wanted to take a minute. So on another video I did a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, I think it was my last video, I mentioned this, the biggest lies ever told, right? Now this is by whose standard, the biggest lies ever told? This is me. This is your boy Adeleke talking. So this kind of works in it's something that just came up for me. It kind of works like the resistance, and not in a good way, like in Star Trek. The resistance to joy. These are the kind of these are the lies. They're like laws, but they're not laws. They're lies. These are the kind of things that people hold on to, and they build their behavior structures and their belief systems around lies like these, and they don't really even know that they're building around lies because it's a lie that's been told so long that they accept it as part of their culture, right? It's just, oh, that's how I was raised. Okay, that's fine, but I want to talk about 4 of them right now. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but these are just like, I'm not even the top 4 because it's not even like a ranking or anything like that. But these are 4 of them: the lie of the monolith, the lie of lack, the lie of the double standard, and the lie of the 2-parent family. All right. Now I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers to get some conversation going. Hopefully, man, this would be so much more enjoyable, I believe, if I was doing this on on a live format. But here we go. Let's get it going. So the lie of the monolith, right? So all black men, blah 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 blah. All black women, blah 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 blah. All anything, everybody do whatever. That's a lie. It's a lie always. It's always a lie. It's the lie of the monolith. It's the lie that suggests that there is a general perspective that encompasses all. And there's just no such thing. It just doesn't exist. Like, we are all unique on purpose. We are all individual on purpose. Now we have collective and overlapping, corresponding compassion. We have all these things, complements. We have all these things that work with each other, but we're just all not the same. And thank the almighty creator in heaven above, that's not the case, that we're all the same. That would be horrible. I mean, it would be, I don't know if it would be horrible, but just imagine the diversity of a garden and the diversity of this planet. This planet is Garden of Eden. Just imagine the diversity of this place, especially before we started killing stuff off and streamlining the concepts and agriculture and all sorts of things. We start killing stuff off, and our infinite knowledge, yeah, wah wah wah. But this is the diversity of life. Life is diverse, and it is super diverse. Even though human experiences cause life forms to leave, there's still the diversity. It's like I saw a bug that I've never seen before ever in my life that never even knew such thing existed. A mole cricket. And it didn't run like a cricket because cricket's like hop, bloop, bloop. Nah, this bad boy was running like a water bug runs. It was zooming and got inside the house, and apparently mole crickets or crickets, and whereas crickets eat grass from the top, moles eat grass from the root. What? They burrow and then they nibble on the grass roots and kill the grass that way. Mole crickets, never heard of them before, but saw one for the first time yesterday. Awesome. That's what I'm talking about, the diversity of life. And so there's no monolith that gets to the idea that you can speak about or create a rule set that works for all black women. All black women. If you don't do this by then you ain't gonna do nothing. Really, like motivations, inspiration, intuition, all the things that make up the individual experience, all come into play at all points in time. There are no set rules to this game called life. All is fair in love and life. I'm not even going to use the W, the big W. I'm not going to use it. All is fair is love and war, but it's true. All is fair. And so there's no monolith. There's no such thing. I know I can go, but I hope I made that point. If not, we can come back to it. I want to talk about the second one, right? These are just in the order that I'm presenting them, like in no particular order, right? So the lie of lack. Wow. Like, how did this lie ever even come into being? The truth of the universe is abundance. Everything is in abundance. Energy is in abundance. Life is in abundance. Opportunity is in abundance. Air is in abundance. Water is in abundance. Land is in abundance. Earth is in abundance. The sun is in abundance. Life, everything in the universe is abundantly so. The stars are in abundance. Sand on the beach is in abundance. Waves themselves are in abundance. Energy is in abundance. What we have in this experience that we are sharing is the lie of lack, right? Because in order for an opportunity, in order for someone to trade of something, in some cases, people make the attempt to define scarcity so that they can impose a value, and it's a failing system. Like, we give value to what has value. All things have value. Well, we still have tradable opportunities, but the idea of lack and creating value based off of lack, off of scarcity, it's a poverty mindedness that serves no one. It doesn't serve the individuals that have the poverty mind. It doesn't serve those to support the individuals that have poverty mind. It doesn't serve the earth. It doesn't serve any nation. Poverty mindedness, all it does is promote jealousy and rage, and it promotes the lower vibrations of human experience rather than allowing or even suggesting or even promoting humans to all vibrate higher so we can get more done and see more done. It's the lie of lack, and it is greed and poverty and all the things that really, when people talk about the the atrocities of human experience, all of that runs back to this idea of a lack-mindedness. Like, you've had people who slaughtered entire tribes of individuals for the access to their land, thinking, from the perspective of there wasn't plenty for them to have in another place. Oh, I got to get it. It's right here, and I got, if I got to get in, then so the idea that it's in short supply encourages hoarding and greed, and it's a lie. It's a lie. New gold will push up, new minerals push up from the earth on a regular basis. On a regular basis. Every day, the sun will come out and put more energy and grow plants all over this planet. Food abundantly, shade abundant, building material abundant. There's no lack. And if we can let that lie go, we can do a lot for ourselves and for the collective good of humans. All right. I've talked about two of them. Let's see what this other two are. Ooh, the lie of the double standard. Boom, boom, boom. I could probably do a video on this one just by itself. The lie of the double standard is a lie. There is no double standard. And the reality of that is that women are the primary ones to help establish that, right? What I mean by that is, guy and a girl go out on a date. The guy opens the door and walks in and lets the door close behind him. He doesn't open the door for the lady when they get in the car. They go out, they order food, they have a great meal. But he asks the attendant, the waiter, to split the ticket. Right? So the next day, the lady is speaking to her sisters or her girlfriends, and, girl, you can't believe it. He didn't hold the door open for me. He didn't. And he had the audacity to split the ticket. I'm surprised he didn't just have me meet me there. Yeah. Because really the reality of it is that as a woman, as a lady, there's an expectation that the guy is going to function as a gentleman, and he's going to pursue you. He's going to make the effort to have the time spent. He's going to cover the meal, open the door, do all those things, right? And there's the expectation of women that men's behavior towards them is different than their behavior towards those men. That's the expectation of everyone who says something about a double standard. It's just what it is. Because there's no double standard. Like I said in the last video, the reason why there's no double standard is because suggesting that there's a standard for men and a standard for women, and that's a misunderstanding of what it means for standard. Yes, there is a standard for men and a standard for women, and that makes not a double standard. That makes a standard for men and a standard for women. Women are not men, and men are not women. Women and men are complements, like we talked before in the previous video. Women and men are complements, and we complement each other in this life being experience. And since we complement each other in this life being experience, we don't show up the same way. We show up by a different standard. We show up by a different standard. And that is not a double standard. That is a complementary standard. Because there's no unification in the way of man and woman except for when we have decided to work together. And that's where the idea of there being a oneness, but there's still two people, right? So there can be a oneness in a relationship, but the relationship has its own standards. The relationship itself is not male or female. It's not, the relationship is not man or woman. The individuals in the relationship are man and woman in the context of heterosexual relationships, because really when I speak about this kind of stuff, that's how I'm referring to it, specifically talking about the idea of the double standard, because it's a thing that comes up in conversations for heterosexual people, right, as men and women relate to each other. So it's really not a conversation for same-sex relationships, because, you know, two women, this was the double standardness of that. Two men, what is the double standardness of that? There's no question. Of course, in those cases, there is nothing that could be referred to as a double standard, except for the idea that, oh, okay, there's a standard for me and a standard for you. And in that way, there are double standards in our relationship. That's one place where it could be, but there's not a place where we refer to the double standard when it's referred to. So in the sense of how the double standard is referred to and how it's used, there's no place like it, except for in the context of a relationship. The relationship itself can have a double standard. And even then, it's not even a double standard. It is a double standard for you, and it's a standard for you and a standard for me. It's not one standard that has two aspects. It's two separate standards. Identifiably unique and identifiably unique, excuse me. No such thing as a double standard. You know, I know that's not going to be my most popular one, but I want y'all to think about it a little bit. And then the fourth one that I want to speak about today is the lie of the two-parent family. This one is another one. Of course, two-parent family. I met a young lady. She was my Lyft driver, and she was telling me how she had recently broken up with her wife. And when they split up, it was a big to-do because they had a child together. Now, I'm not 100% sure how they had a child together. I mean, because, you know, same-sex couples can have children together, but there's always a surrogate that plays the other part of the biological duality necessary for a child to be born. And in this case, it was two women. I believe she's the one that actually gave birth to the little girl, because when they split, she took possession of the little girl. She took custody of the little girl and takes primary custody of the little girl, from what I could tell from her story. And she was explaining to me that they were having difficulties in their relationship, and how when they decided that they were going to have a child together, that they agreed on it. And the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, my goodness, this is a perfect example of the idea that there's no such thing as a two-parent family. Like in this case, there's at least three parents. Well, whether that third parent is super active or not, there's at least three. There's at least three individuals that have committed to some degree to the rearing of this child. There's no way around that. At least three. But in all cases, there are always more than two, right? Even that individual. I'll use a personal example. When my oldest was being born, I was given the perspective, like, you know, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be a pops at that point. It was a rough time. But the idea that a child coming in, even if one parent is at home, that one parent has family. They have mother, they have father, they have grandmother, auntie, uncle, neighbor, teacher, right? It takes a village to raise a child. And in all cases, that is the case. It's never a woman and a man that decide to have a child, however that happens, and then they are in this 20-year experience in a vacuum. Where does that happen? Nowhere. Nowhere does that happen. Nowhere does Bobby meet Sally. Bobby knocks Sally up, and then they exist for the rest of their experience where no other persons are involved in the rearing of that child. Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It always takes a village. It's always going to be the sisters of the mother, the sisters of the father, family other members, parents, grandparents, teachers, like I said before. For that matter, if a single mom walks her son to school every day and she gets to the crosswalk and there's a crossing guard that comes there and he stops traffic and helps her and her child across the street, that crossing guard is part of the experience of raising that child. No one raises a child alone. There's no place where there's only two parents. Now, you may argue a crossing guard is not an example of parenting. No, I wouldn't say that. But in that case, that parent is parenting, and that crossing guard is supporting the parenting. So, and in that way, the crossing guard is contributing to parenting, right? And definitely the auntie who cooks dinner and checks his teeth before he goes to bed on those nights when mom works late, is definitely participating. Even if she does that twice a month for only 4 years of the child's life, nonetheless, if the frequency is, the duration is irrelevant. The fact of the experience is that there is always support. And in rare cases where there's seemingly no support, there's still support. Even in the cases where the individual parent may be living on the street and raising their kid, well, there's still the teacher. There's still the church, the community center, all of these other factors and institutions that all contribute to the parenting of that child. It takes a village. It takes a village, and that's the truth of things. Two-parent family, it's just another one of those lies. So, this is the first time running this down for you. This is just 4 of the most pervasive lies that people tell, that we tell each other, that I believe are they just add resistance to our experience. That's it. They're not good. They're not bad. They're just untruths. They're lies that add resistance to our joy. They get in the way. They can, when we allow them, these kinds of understandings and beliefs that are based around these lies. The beliefs that are based around these lies have the potential of offering resistance to our joy, and they have the potential of taking and stealing our joy, or mitigating or adding resistance to the joy that we're experiencing as humans with each other, through this whole thing called life. So appreciate you listening to me, especially if you sat with me the whole 25. Yeah, man. So this is how we do it. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get stronger. And I appreciate your time. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share. See if you can help me. If you like what I'm talking about, or even if you're ready to just argue with me, let's go. I'm setting it up for that. That's what I'm looking for. Rich, thick discussion. Let's get it. Bless up. Bless up.